It has a camera, it has a CPU, right? If I told you, just be honest, over billions of years, space dust turned into this phone, would you believe me? Be honest.
I mean, it could be.
Would you believe me? Just be honest. Would you believe me?
Probably not, because...
Why not?
Well, the reason why is because I know that the phone, like, you can actually go to a factory.
Sure.
I can go to an iPhone factory and I can see the phone being manufactured.
But I can tell you, if I told you...
observe God manufacturing humans.
You're getting ahead of me, bro. Take it easy. Relax, all right? If I told you this particular phone was not made in a factory, this particular phone in my hand was evolved from particles of dust over quadrillions of years, not billions, but trillions of years. It unlocks just like a regular phone. It has WhatsApp, it has all these apps, it has a camera, it has Siri. But this particular phone did not come from a factory, it just evolved. Would you believe me? Yes or no? I mean, just be honest.
No, but the thing is, it's not an apt analogy.
I didn't make it out. I just asked you for an answer. Relax. You're getting like nervous and ahead. Relax, right? So my question there would be, why couldn't this?
What do you mean?
Why couldn't this evolve? Why would you not believe me?
I wouldn't believe you because there's probably a higher likelihood of humans making it, because I've observed that humans
Why? I mean, again, you have not observed this phone being made.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I would think the likelihood is quite small that I could round to approximately 100% of phones.
You just earlier said that a small likelihood over long periods of time can still be possible. So now you're breaking your own theory. Even if there's a very small likelihood, over quadrillions of years, grains of sand, this particular phone was developed by it. Why would you not believe me?
Well, see, if you told me it was manufactured in a factory by people, I'd believe you. If you told me
I
it
didn't
was
say
made
that.
by God, I wouldn't believe you.
I didn't say that either. See, again, you're jumping around instead of answering my question, right? My question is...
What you're doing is fine-tuning.
I'm not. It's a very simple question. This particular phone in my hand, if I told you that over trillions of years, grains of sand evolved to make this phone, would you believe me or not?
No, I would not believe you. Yeah.
Why would you not believe me? I told you over trillions of years. So even the slightest possibility, according to your principle, could make it. So why not?
Because I'm saying it's more likely that a phone would have been created.
More likely doesn't mean that it's impossible.
You're asking me, do I believe?
Yeah.
And so generally, the logic of I believe is something that's probably what's more likely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in the same sense, now when we talk about... Go ahead.
No, nothing. Yeah.
All right. If you want to have a conversation, we're here. If you don't, you're a free man, right? So, if you take the same sense and you see a human being, your eyes have a function, right? If your eyeball did not have the function to see, right, there would be no purpose behind a ball of jelly. That means the original development of the eyeball had to have a function.
No.
No? Why not?
Necessarily.
Okay, so what would be the function for a ball of jelly in your face?
I mean, you can trace back the evolution of the human eye through different sort of like more sort of primitive eyes with different lenses. I mean, I'm not an expert on evolution.
So each one of those lenses would be able to see.
Yeah.
So that would mean the original eye didn't develop out of just a ball of jelly. It had to have the function originally for it to be valuable.
The human eye is very, very complicated.
Sure, a simplistic eye would still be able to see, right?
Yeah.
That means the first eye had to have some form of vision, and that means it didn't evolve from just a ball of jelly, right?
Yeah.
So that would mean that there was design behind the eye. Let me explain it, right? If you take natural selection, you would have to have something that is needed for your survival, right? And then your genes would go forward because you would reproduce and so on, and the ones that didn't would die out, right?
Yeah.
So that means the first people or first animal or first being with eyes had to have been able to see, otherwise they would not be selected, right?
So what are you saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's track the eye back.
Yeah. Well, I can't track the eyes since I don't study biology.
But do you understand the concept?
Yeah, I understand. I sort of understand the concept that you're getting at, but I don't agree because I think that something useful can come out of something that doesn't have a use.
So what was there before the eye had vision.
I mean, I have no idea, right?
Yeah, so you don't,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now, let's think through that, right? Today, there are functions in your body
Yeah.
that are exactly like the functions in his body and his body and his body, right?
Yeah.
But if you have random mutation, which is a theory within evolution, then each one of us, not as a species, as individuals, should be mutating, right?
Yeah.
So you don't see people walking around with a horn, right? You don't see people.
Except you have brown eyes and I have blue eyes.
Sure,
So that's
I
a
got you.
mutation.
Is that a random mutation or is it genetic?
Well, you can actually trace back the history of the first blue-eyed people. It's like a sort of one blue-eyed ancestor.
Where did his blue eyes come from?
Genetic mutation. Well, it's sort of. I'm not an expert on evolution.
I know.
So sort of,
I can tell. Relax.
the idea is either sort of random, I guess, like radiation interacting with
But see again, if you take that through,
Yeah.
that means we should be randomly changing eye colors all the time.
No,
Why not?
because
It's
not
random
if
mutation.
not if it's a low probability.
Right? But even low probability over a large period of time
Yeah.
would still have it. So
So
we
a large
don't.
period of time is the period of time in which blue eyes have come about. So that was on that.
But then you should also have randomly different colors coming forward, not just genetically.
Yeah.
Well, we don't see that, right?
We do see that. Blue eyes.
Blue eyes are one set,
Then you have
green
blue
eyes, and then you have genetic mixes between those.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You don't see anybody coming out with yellow eyes,
No.
right? So
Haven't mutated.
right? So that's the idea, right? That if you say these are just random, then people should be having random differences in their faces, in their bodies, 3 arms and things like that.
People do have differences in their faces and bodies.
But not randomly, right? Everybody has a nose, everybody has 2 eyes, right?
Actually,
Unless you have a
well, I mean,
genetic.
some people have 6 fingers.
Sure. There are anomalies, but you don't see races of people developing out different than others, do you?
Yeah. Well, because in order for that to be the case, mutation would have to be much more frequent.
Exactly, right? So that means you'd have to have a certain amount of a species mutating, not an individual. Who coordinates that?
Well, it's uncoordinated.
Think about that, right? Like that would mean that many of us would have to mutate the same way without any coordination.
Well, it's you're saying who coordinated it, but that's
Yeah.
a loaded question.
It's not.
You're making
It's a
an
very
assumption.
simple question.
You're saying who and not what, which I feel like what would be more.
Is there a difference between who and what?
Yeah.
Why?
Because who you're at,
Okay, what coordinated it?
Who is the person? What coordinated it? Well, then I would answer nothing coordinated.
So who or what? You have no answer either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you a simple question now,
Yeah.
right? Can I split the moon?
This thing. No.
No?
No, I assume you can. I can't know for sure. Right?
All right. So in the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, for example,
Yeah.
we have an actual event that was eyewitnessed by many people that were witnesses,
Yeah.
right? Including enemies of the Prophet, peace be upon him,
Yeah.
including people in other geographical locations, where he asked the people, right? He asked them, ask me, will you believe? They said, if you split the moon,
Yeah.
right? And he supplicated, and the moon split and came back together,
Okay.
right? So how would that happen?
Can you show me it though? Can you show me
Excellent,
right now?
excellent.
Yeah.
As I said, I cannot split the moon,
Okay.
right? But I can give you historic references, right, of people that saw it, not just Muslims, right? Enemies of Islam. I can show you the chain of narration, right? For example, you believe Alexander the Great existed, right?
Probably. Yeah.
Do you believe that or no?
I can assume that Alexander the Great might have existed. Yeah.
George Washington, did he exist?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
You're not sure?
Well, I mean, I wasn't there, so I can't know
So
anything for certain.
anything that you weren't there, you don't believe existed?
Well, I believe it probably was the case. Yeah.
Why do you believe that?
What do you mean?
Why do you believe George Washington existed?
Well, see, the difference with George Washington is it's very, very recent. So,
Okay,
so a lot of.
but how do you know? Was there a camera? You got a
I
YouTube
know.
video?
No, I don't know.
So you're going by historic
I'm telling
reports.
you, I can't know for sure. I can't know for sure. But
So how do you know anything that you haven't seen?
well, I can't. I just assume
Right.
that's the answer. I can't know for sure.
All right. Do you have a grandfather?
Yeah.
Did you see him?
Yeah.
Great grandfather?
No, not my great grandfather.
Did you have one?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Well, I mean, grandparents have to come from somewhere. So.
Right? But you don't know. You haven't seen him.
Oh, yeah, technically not. Yeah, technically. I mean, that's
All
getting
right.
more into
I'll tell you what.
philosophy of like what is real.
No. So the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, for example, his miracles, like what I just explained, were witnessed by people, right? We can historically check those reports. We can check who saw them, how was their reliability, how was their moral character, how many people saw it, even in other geographical locations, right?
Yeah.
Like there are reports out of India who were not Muslim, who saw the same thing. How would that happen?
Well, I just simply, I mean, the answer is I can't know for sure, because you could say, like we could, like for example, like I don't know, where's it written, you're saying, in the Quran? Or?
No, it's in the Quran as well, but also in the historic books like Tabari and Ibn Kathir. But there are also reports. I have a video on it. You can watch it. It discusses the whole issue of NASA, and it discusses the issue of the reports out of India and the reports by even the enemies of the Prophet that were in other areas, right? That witnessed those reports. Take a look at it.
Well, my question is first, how do you know that the sources are reliable?
Excellent question, right? When we check those hadith, we look at who the narrator is, where he lived, we look at his biographical information, we look at who he reported to, who all wrote it down, and when we find that there were different people who witnessed the same event, told different people, who wrote down in different geographical locations, enemies, foes, and friends reported the same event, right? Then after that research, we say no doubt this was a historic event.
Okay. Yeah, but what if I don't believe the reputability?
Why not? Well, excellent,
why not?
Excellent.
Yeah.
What you would have to, I can show you who the right. I have, and I can share that evidence with you. And if you have some criticism of those narrators, I'd be more than happy to discuss it.
Well, it's not something I know a lot about. I'd have to do more research.
Okay, watch the video. It's called Moon Splitting, Uthman ibn Farooq. Check it out. I will give you a hypothesis that you can go home and think about.
Okay.
All right. There is a creator, right, who created us. That's why everything is made out of the same type of cells, right? Like your whole body is from the same types of cells, but there is no organization, nobody tells the cell become this or become that. Right?
You're saying a deistic.
Sure.
Deistic interpretation. So.
Yeah, I am a Muslim, so definitely I do believe in a creator. But that creator, he created us with purpose, and that tells you where we came from. A creator that had always existed, right? A creator that showed us miracles in our own life. For example, how does milk come in the breast of a woman? The theory of evolution cannot answer it, because you'd have to have a need for it to have developed, and you'd have to have had it for that child to have survived.
Well, that's an answer. That's a question for an evolutionary biologist.
Sure, and I discuss it with people who are PhDs, biologists on a daily basis, almost not every day, but very frequently, because I work with a lot of scientists who do research into clinical trials of pharmaceuticals and med devices. They cannot answer that. So you can take that question to your professors and ask them.
Okay.
All right. Take a Quran. It's free. Read it.
Which one?
Anyone. They're all the same. It's just different sizes. You want a smaller one? You can keep it pocket size. Here, take this one then.
Take the big one?
Yeah. They're all free. Take it, read it, come back with more questions. What was your name?
Yasha.
Yasha? Uthman.
Yeah.
Pleasure speaking to you.
Well, I mean, if it's be interesting to read. I mean, I've been meaning to get around to reading the Bible as well.
Excellent.
Clearly,
read
they're popular for a reason.
They are. Read it. Come back and we'll talk more.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We actually had someone else who wanted you to meet, but then he couldn't come. So,
Alhamdulillah. Next time, bring them, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Shaykh.